guys, and welcome on a new Coach Dev Academy Lab Guide. I'm Corentin Guinez, driver for Simmercy, and today we are on Hockenheim for the week 9 of the Falcon Tire Sports Car Challenge. As you can see, I'm on a wet track because there is a few chances for you to get some wetness during this week. A few chances. Sorry. So yeah, this time we'll tackle the wet. I think it's the most interesting, of course, because I guess you guys know how to drive the dry lines, but yeah, this time wet will be interesting. So yep, first hot lap, and then we talk together about the combo. So yep, let's get started. The main target for for this lap. So of course I'm saying that, but on T1 you will see that I'm cutting quite a lot this inside. But anyway, first focusing on the braking. So usually you would brake just getting past the 100 board on the left, but of course with the wet and considering you are braking on the rubber line of the track, like if you were braking on the right side where you don't really have much rubber because it's not the racing line, you could brake almost at the same distance from the T1 on the compared to a dry line. But this time, of course, considering how tight is the T1, you cannot really brake too far to the right because then you have to a sharp corner to the right. So yeah, need to stay on the rubber this time. Just make sure you are not braking too deep as well around the track, especially on the wet. It's very important. You have to be even more careful on the braking to avoid all sort of ABS. So then, just getting close of the 100. I mean, pretty much when the curb starts on the left, like you have this this green stuff just before the curb. So then when the curb is starting, begins basically, just go on the brake. As you can see, it's around 50%. And then when you see that the 50 board gets close, just starting to turn to the right, then just releasing the brake. As you can see, just drop to third gear. Then I just try to let the car roll a little bit. So yeah, actually in this one you can let the car roll into the corner. So as you can see, letting the car roll, and then when I'm getting really close of the curb on the inside, getting on power, then very important on the exit to not being too aggressive because of course you want to avoid the curb on the exit. When I'm taking the curbing on the inside, as you can see, I'm just trying to make sure my left wheels doesn't really go over the sausage, because if my left wheels go over the sausage, then it's going to be maybe it's not the right angle, of course, with the spray, but if I put something at the front, so it's going to be, yeah, rear chase. So as you can see, just putting the right wheels on the, at least on the left edge of the sausage curb, so then the car doesn't bounce too much. You don't really feel at least it doesn't really upset the car, especially on the wet. It's not ideal if you end up being completely sideways or anything. And of course, if I put the car sideways on the curb and I'm going on throttle as well on the exit, then it's not going to end up very well, of course. So yeah, as you can see, just getting the edge of the curb. As you can see, the car doesn't bounce that much. Like, it stops bouncing when the car is in the middle of the track. And then yeah, just trying to manage the power on the exit of the corner, because of course, like I told you before, I need to avoid the curb on the exit. So as you can see, just putting the left wheel on the curb. Most importantly, of course, you cannot avoid the curb on the exit, because if you want to avoid the curb, you are going to lose a lot of momentum. So you have to take the curb. But what I mean about avoiding the curb, especially at the exit of T1, is to go 4 wheels on the curb. Of course, on the dry version, if you have dry session, you are going to aim for the edge of this green painted stuff. So if you put the left wheels on the edge of this painted stuff, you are still into the track limit. But of course, you cannot make it with the wet, because it's way too slippery. So as soon as you keep the right wheels off the curb, you are going to be fine. But if you put the right wheels maybe just even on the white line, then you are going to lose a lot of time, and there is a big chance that you crash the car if you are not slowing down enough. So yeah. Then main target is to make sure you can leave it as soon as you can, and then we are going to move onto the turn 2, I guess. So for this one, I will just bring the car to the right side. I want to avoid all the rubber, so basically you have almost 3 meters or 4 meters to avoid, I guess. From what I tried during the setup session, I couldn't find the grip if I was braking just on the left. So yeah, I'm just trying to put the car in the middle of the track, then just looking at the exit road on the left, and then when it gets close, going on the brake 70% or something, just keeping the car in the middle of the track, releasing the brake when I'm getting close of the curbing on the right side, dropping to second. As you can see, just trying to make sure I'm staying quite tight, but at the same time, I just try to make sure I'm not running on the curb, because of course it's slippery. You can have some standing water, and it's the same for the white line. So yeah, when you are making the turn into the corner, just make sure you are not turning in too tight, because then you are going to lose grip, of course, by running on the curb and on the white line. As you can see, just trying to stay tight, because I want to make sure I have the best run possible for the long straight after that, because during the setup session, I made at the beginning I was making the mistake of like trying to carry a lot of speed on the exit of this one. So just open the steering early, then try to carry a lot of speed. But then when I was doing that, I was ended up trying to stay flat, because of course you want to have a lot of momentum going onto the straight. But most of the time I was having a lot of oversteer arriving at that point, and then I was losing all of the momentum. So what I tried is, by trying to stay tight out of this one, as you can see, just trying to almost lick the line, the white line on the right side. Then I could turn to the left, stay fully flat, just trying to play with the steering, keep it as open as possible, and then as you can see, I can make this left-hander without any issues, without having the rear unstable. So if I do it back into the car, as you can see, out of this right-hander, just trying to stay to the right, trying to go on power, but at the same time trying to make sure I don't put too much power so then I can stay tight on the right. And then once I'm really as much as I can to the right, I'm diving to the left, avoiding the curb on the left, of course, to avoid any oversteer. And then just trying to open the steering, play a bit with the steering, trying to avoid any sort of slides. And then, as you can see, no issues, onto the straight, going through the gears up to 5th, but of course you are rarely going up to 6 on this car, in even 7th. So yeah. Then approaching this hairpin, pretty much pretty much same approach as what we've done the corner before, just breaking off the line. So putting the car in the middle of the track, braking at the 150. So when you see that the 150 is about to disappear on the left, just going on the brake, pretty much the same, braking quite a lot for this one. Need to brake quite a lot, so but at the same time I'm not still fully on the ABS, so you still have that 80 that 20 margin from the full braking, so this still leaves you some gap between reaching the full ABS. And of course you feel it when you are into the ABS. So yeah, if I braked at 80, this means that the ABS at the end of the day wasn't too bad, and still you have to slow down quite a lot the car, late braking. So yeah, at the end of the day you cannot arrive on this corner and just brake 50, of course, 50%. Then as you can see, still in the middle of the track, starting to release the brake, drop to second, then just trying to make sure of course I'm not turning too early, because I don't want to end up on the curb on the inside, because of course I will need to go early on power. So if I go early on power and at the same time I go on the curb, this means I will lose a lot of traction. So as you can see, if I'm showing you this from the outside, mid corner, middle of the track, then going for the turn in, releasing the brake, trying to make sure I can go early on power, avoiding the curb and the white line, and then on the exit, just trying to go almost pedal to the metal, just trying to open the steering. So as you can see, the steering is open really quickly. As you can see, I'm not even oh wait, you cannot see it actually. If I show you like this, oh, it's difficult. Maybe I will need to, yeah, like that, it's fine. As you can see, I'm not even close to the end of this curbing, that the steering wheel is already completely straightened. So yeah, very important to straighten the wheel very quickly out of this one. So yeah, from the inside this time, on the brake, releasing the brake, early on throttle, open the steering, and then it's fully flat. Then we will go into the King before entering the Mercedes, sort of Mercedes arena. So as you can see, putting the car to the left, then diving into the corner. I think I'm just lifting a little bit on the entry. Of course, you cannot stay flat compared to the dry. Of course, you use pretty much the same line, but the difference is that you need to lift a little bit, because of course, even if I'm not going through the grass, I don't think I can make it flat anyway. So just a bit of lift on the entry, and then once I'm getting past the grass or the inside, when I'm just crossing the curb and the grass, then I can just stay flat, just trying to make sure I can stay away from the curb, or at least not ended up going too wide on the curb, because then it's just impossible to brake, and at the same time you will get the off track. So yeah, just make sure I can keep at least the left wheels on the curb at the best. And then once you are getting close of the end of the curbing on the left side, of course this time on the wet you are just using a complete different, I'm using a complete different reference, because of course with the wet I end up going really far to the left. With the wet, with the dry, I would already be on the curb on the right side, braking for my reference just before the end of this curb on the right. But yeah, this time on the wet, I'm using the curb on the left. Once I'm getting past the end of the curb on the left, going on the brake, deep on the brake, putting the car into the middle of the track, dropping to second, releasing the brake, getting the curb on the inside. I think I'm getting the curb on the inside, or maybe I'm not. If I'm not, it's the best, of course, because I wanna avoid. And yes, I'm not taking the curb. That's the best. I avoid the curb to avoid any kind of I basically avoid to lose the grip. I avoided to not lose the grip. Complicated sentence. But yeah, I just try to avoid the curb to have the maximum grip possible. And at the same time, I'm almost nailed the rear wheels, avoiding the line as well. So no issue with the traction on the exit. Main target out of this one is to stay tight. So pretty much the same as the turn 2 approach on the exit, even if it's not really the same corners. But yeah, just trying to stay tight so then I can prepare the right one, which comes right after. Because of course, if I end up going really wide on the exit of this one, then I need to make a sharp corner to the left, and then I have another corner to the right. So by staying quite tight out of this one with second, then this means I can stay to the left. Then I will just have to cross, I think, the curb. So yeah, I'm just crossing, driving through the curb, and then once I'm off the curb, releasing the throttle, going back on throttle to find the rotation, leaving some throttle to keep the rotation all the way. They need to play with the steering. Of course, you are going to have to play with the steering because, of course, the car will slide sometimes. It is what it is with the rain. You are never going to have a steering like this. Smooth inputs, it's not really going to happen, to be fair, on the wet. So yeah, just trying to make sure I, of course, don't get the curb on the inside. Even if, to be fair, sometimes we will see that into the last corners, getting the curb sometimes is not so bad. I mean, I found that during the setup sessions, that sometimes some of the curbs are not so bad at the end, and also can give you some extra grip to, or at least not grip, but really helps you to sometimes find some rotation. So yeah, as you can see, on throttle, trying to keep the car as stable as I can, then staying fully flat, trying to avoid the curb on the left, because this means I would lose some traction. Then I try to stay close to the wall, and then when I'm getting past the beginning of this wall, the beginning of when the track gets, I guess the two walls, the walls are getting narrow like this. This one makes the track narrow. You don't have anymore the runoff on the left. Then when I'm getting past this, I'm starting to release the throttle, going on the brake. I will drop to third, I think, just saying to third, and then just using the same reference to turn in. There is like this, it's tough to explain because maybe I'm saying something that you guys won't be able to see, but like at some point there is like the distortion of the, I don't know if we say it like that in English, but the white line doesn't go like sort of straight anymore. It goes back to the left, or sort of left. It goes to another direction. So yeah, when I'm getting close of this, it's pretty much right there. Then just turning into the right, dropping to third, just a bit of braking on the entry, trying to hold the brake until I'm into the corner, and then early on power, trying to make sure I can get close of the curb. And that's why I told you before that sometimes curb were pretty good, because of course if I'm not getting this curb, I can get quite a lot of understeer, and then I end up on the curb right there, just under the overlay. So basically if I get this curb on the outside, I can lose a lot of time if I end up going the four wheels on the curb. So yeah, using this curb actually helps me to get some more rotation. As you can see, you can really see that on the replay that the car is turning quite well. So it gives a bit of rotation. Then on the exit, it's just about playing with the throttle, getting the curb, then just trying to get the power down, trying to find the rotation, because if you just lift, then you will just have understeer. So when you're in this position, the car is sliding a little bit. Do not release the throttle because it's gonna be even worse, and you are going to get understeer. So yeah, as you can see, just going on throttle, trying to keep the wild wheels off the curb. I ended up going a bit sideways because I think the white line made me have some oversteer, but at the end I didn't lose that much time. So yeah, I was a bit surprised because when I saw that I was going with the right wheels on the white line, yeah, I was wondering if the lap still would be good, but yeah, it was quite a good lap at the end. So yeah, then out of this curb, out of this corner, just keep the car on the right side. Do not go to the right side of the track because you are going on the rubber part of the track, and then if you brake on the rubber, then you are just going to lose control. So yeah, just stay on the right, brake at the close when the 50 basically disappears. So as you can see, close to the 50, it disappears. Going on the brake, trying to go as tight as you can on the entry, and then when you are getting past the entry, then you just try to bring the car to the outside. So basically trying to bring the car to the drier part of or the driest part of the corner, because of course you have a lot of camber into this one, so the water is going to go down down the apex and down the bottom of the corner. So of course you are going to struggle quite a lot if you decide to stay on the inside. So with the speed, I just bring the car to the outside, not too deep on the outside, because at the same time you lose as well the grip if you are going too wide. It feels like you are almost running into the marbles, and then you are just losing all of the grip. So yeah, if you stay in the second half of the track, I guess, like you have, if you could draw a line like that, it would draw the middle of the track, and yeah, I would be like I was almost like kiss this middle line all the way, because yeah, like I told you, if I'm going too wide there, it doesn't feel really good. So yeah, then when I'm on this sort of dry patch, even if it's not really dry, going on power, trying to find the rotation, then close to the exit, fully on power, trying to make sure I'm not running too deep on the curbing. So just like that, it was fine. Kept 2 or 3 wheels on the actual track up to third, and then when we are approaching this sort of chicane, I will basically cross this one, not too much, but I will cross it. But at the same time, I have to keep in mind that if I show you a bit after that, because I think it's interesting to explain the first part. Basically, before entering this one, you have to know that you can basically go through the curbs like that. Like you can actually use the curb, the sausage, and the green painted stuff that way. So when you are leaving these two corners. So what I'm doing for this one is that I know that I don't have to really avoid this. So this means I know that I have less steering angle to put. Because if I had to avoid that, this means I would have to put more steering angle when I was riding this. So this means it would maybe kill a bit the balance, or maybe put the car a bit more it will unsettle a bit the car. But by knowing that I can go through this this part of the track like that, like I can cross like this, then I know that I have less steering angle to put through this part, because I can almost end up putting the car fully straight out of the left one. I hope you understand what I'm saying. But once again, as you can see, going to the left, getting the curb. Of course, I don't think I made it really wide, because or maybe I had too much power by going through the curb. So maybe it would be nice to try if you could get it done by going a bit deeper to the left. But I fear that if you are going deeper to the left, you will end up having the four wheels off the track. So maybe you won't get the off track, but what I mean is that you will probably lose a lot of grip. So yeah, to avoid that oversteer moment, I maybe should have lift a bit more. But yeah, what I mean is that I don't have to put a lot of steering angle by going on into this left, because as you can see, I can keep the steering straight, get the track like this, and then the car remains really stable. So yeah, I hope you understood what I mean. Once again, getting the curb, keeping the steering straight, going basically completely straight, crossing the curbs, and then once I'm off this curb, going on the brake, trying to stay in the first half of the track. I'm not trying to go really wide, so then I take the actual dry line. I just try to stay in the first half of the track, down to third, trying to get the curbing on the inside. So like I told you before, I think that the curb in the last two corners of this track, when it's wet, is pretty OP. I guess it gives you pretty good rotation. It doesn't make the car unstable. So as you can see, bit of power, going on the curb, early on power, just before entering the curb, using the curb, bringing the car to the left. Of course, I just try to avoid the curb on the left, because this one can be a bit deadly, I guess, considering the car is in the turning process. Because if I clip the curb or the white line with the rear left, then I can end up spinning. And then yeah, just lifting a bit on the entry, trying to play with the power to find the rotation, getting the curb. So as you can see, I'm getting a fair amount of curb actually on the inside. This gives me the rotation, and then I just try to manage the power on the exit. If I'm doing it from the cockpit, as you can see, just going on power, getting the curb. I try to bring the car as much as I can to the left, but without using the curb, lifting when I'm crossing this pit entry line. So basically when I'm crossing this one, releasing the throttle, going back on throttle, trying to find the rotation on throttle, using the curb on the inside. So as you can see, I'm using quite a lot of curbing actually. I almost use the same amount in the dry. So yeah, I can make sure to use this because the car is not unstable. So yeah, at least for me, it worked pretty well. Then off the curb, going more aggressively on power, trying to manage the power out of the corner. Of course, keep in mind that you have to avoid the curbing on the exit. If you put the left wheels on it, it's fine, but just make sure you're not doing more than that. Just put the left wheels on the edge of the curb, but not more than that. And yeah, then just going to the start finish line, and we are done for the lap. Alright everyone, we are done for this week. That was the week 9 around Hockenheim. This time we used the wet conditions, of course. It made the combo very interesting, very different from what we are used to drive with the wet lines. So yeah, I hope you learned quite a lot from this one. I hope it's going to help you for that week. Yeah, as usual, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Coach Dev Academy channel and join the Discord server if you have any questions about all the work we are making, could be setups, or if you have any questions about this lab guide as well. Don't forget to ask everything into the comments of this video, and yeah, I see you for the week 10. Bye bye.